What's up, everyone? We are in the garage today, and from what you can probably tell, we're not really working on anything. So I've actually wanted to try this for a little while now, and I figured I would give it a shot. So part of what I've considered adding to this channel is kind of like a podcast or a vlog segment. That won't be our primary focus, of course. My primary focus still is around cars, DIY projects, and probably even product reviews as well. But I did want to add an element of, maybe a podcast or a vlog to the channel to give different insight. I may end up spinning this off to a different channel entirely, but for the time being, I'm gonna do it here to see how it goes. With that being said, I'm going to do a 3-part mini-series. This mini-series is going to focus on meeting 3 famous YouTubers, actually. And I'm sure if you watch any type of motorsports, fabrication, bodywork, anything in those realms, one, if not all 3 of these YouTubers will show up on your suggestions at some point. Now, with that being said, like I mentioned, this is going to be a 3-part mini-series. And the order is really in no particular order, but I'm going to keep it in the order that I ended up meeting them. I did start my trip in Salt Lake City and then drove down to southern Utah. We were actually going to visit several national parks that are in southern Utah. And while we were en route, I thought it would be really cool to try to stop by and meet some of these famous YouTubers. And this was completely unplanned. This was just a bonus because we had travel time or travel days built into our trip with really nothing planned. Which, truthfully, if you're ever planning on doing a trip, even if it's a full-blown road trip or if it's a trip where you fly out and then you have some driving days built in, I suggest keeping it kind of open. It's always nice to go off the beaten path, explore something, see a sign for something that may interest you, and having time to go check that out, I think is what makes trips far more enjoyable. And so that's what this was. I had the time. I was fortunate that while we were driving, like I mentioned, I gave myself some time to be able to go off the beaten path, and part of that was going and visiting these YouTubers. So, without further ado, we'll kick off this 3-part mini-series. I'm going to use this intro for all 3 videos, but after this intro, it'll kick into each of the videos. That way, if you're just finding one of the videos and not part of the series, you'll be filled in on what this actually is. And then if you do want to actually view the full series, you know to look for the other 2 videos or be on the lookout for them when they come out, because they're going to be released one each week over the next coming weeks when this series is actually released. So without further ado, we'll get started. All right, everyone, we are on video 2 of the mini series of what it was like meeting 3 famous YouTubers in southern Utah. So for the second YouTuber, the one that I was able to meet or at least visit their shop was Matt's Off-Road Recovery. So I actually found out about the other 2 YouTubers. So if you haven't watched the first video, that was on Robbie Layton. I actually found out about him through Matt's Off-Road Recovery, and then I also found out about the third YouTuber that will be mentioned in the third video through Matt's Off-Road as well. With that being said, Matt's channel has exploded. He's got well over 1 million subscribers now, which is awesome. It was really neat to watch his channel explode in such a short period of time. I watched him when he was recording recoveries with his iPhone, and I think like most folks, we found him during the pandemic, and then his channel just exploded from there. With that being said, understanding that his channel is quite large, I came into it with the assumption of I wasn't going to meet him. Now, with that being said, I was pleasantly surprised with my experience. When I visited Matt's Off-Road Recovery, the little shack that you see in some of the videos is actually there. And then the actual shop that's in the back, where all the videos are primarily recorded, with the exception of the recoveries, of course, is back there as well. And they do give tours. I was pleasantly surprised about that. They weren't giving tours at the time that I visited inside the shop, but they did say that they do that just depending on the time. With that being said, unlike the Robbie video, I did take video of my experience there in addition to the photos that I took. And so I will insert those into this video as well, so you can get an idea of the experience. With that being said, though, I will come out and say I unfortunately did not get to meet Matt. Matt is a very busy guy, and unfortunately at the time that we visited was the same time as Trail Hero, and completely just glossed over the fact that it was Trail Hero weekend when we were there. And so everyone was over in the Sand Hollow State Park, and they were up on the hill actually guiding folks through it and recovering and doing things like that. So I unfortunately didn't get to meet him, but I did get to meet Tom Tom, which was really neat. So while I did visit the shop and I did take a tour of Matt's Off-Road Recovery, I actually ended up meeting Tom at Trail Hero. So again, having additional time in our trip allowed us the flexibility to kind of pop in. I didn't get to go up on the hill and actually see the off-roading side of Trail Hero. I primarily just stayed in the vendor section because we really didn't have a ton of time to dedicate to that. I only had a few extra hours to spare, but it was a really cool experience. I actually, honorable mention, got to meet, did get to meet, I got to see Trailmater. So I don't know if you're familiar with that channel as well, but Rory Irish with the Trailmater channel has a famous off-road wrecker named Trailmater. I got to meet, I gotta quit saying meet, it's a truck. I got to see the truck. He unfortunately was up there with Matt on the off-road side, so I didn't get to meet Rory. But with that being said, I did go around to the Matt's Off-Road Recovery booth, and Tom Tom was actually setting up, and so I had the pleasure of meeting Tom Tom very briefly, got a cool picture with him. I'll put that in this video as well. But with that being said, unfortunately, unlike Robbie, I didn't get the chance to actually sit down and have a conversation with Matt. I'd love the opportunity to do that one day. Again, who knows, maybe when my channel gets bigger, if it does, maybe that opportunity will present itself, and maybe I'll have the opportunity to meet Matt one day. With that being said, though, it was a really cool experience just going there to the yard at Matt's Off-Road Recovery and walking around. I was fortunate to see the Bombi in its present state. It wasn't fully together. So I visited early October in 2023, so if you follow his videos, it was pretty much in the state at that time. It wasn't quite put together. I did get to see the Banana, and then I also got to see the Morvair and the Golden Nugget, and the Rokon. So the bike that I couldn't think of the name in the Robbie Layton video is the Rokon, and I actually got to see that there too. And holy cow, like I was saying in the Robbie video, seeing the Golden Nugget in person and seeing the bodywork on that thing is just incredible. It's a testament to the work that Robbie and his team did to that car. And it's just, words don't do it justice, and video doesn't do it justice either. I mean, you just have to kind of see it in person. It's just like the Banana. I mean, looking at that thing in person and seeing the bodywork, even after it's been used, on off-road recoveries and things, it still looks amazing. But yeah, it was a really pleasant experience. It was cool that Matt's Off-Road Recovery gives those tours for free. I can certainly see them charging a couple bucks to do that. But at the time that I visited, it was completely free. You got to walk around, take pictures, take videos. They would answer questions for you. And then obviously you could buy merch in the little shack there, which I bought a sticker. But yeah, it was a really cool experience. Like I said, maybe if my channel becomes bigger in the future, maybe the opportunity will present itself to collaborate with Matt, or at least have the opportunity to meet him. But it was a pleasure to meet Tom Tom. It was a pleasure to meet the crew there at Matt's Off-Road Recovery. And if you're in Hurricane, I highly recommend doing that. I highly recommend stopping by Sand Hollow. It was kind of neat to kind of cruise around there and see it in person. It is just a state park. I'd love to go out there with like a UTV or a Jeep. Or if I ever get to bring the 4Runner out to Utah, I'd love to take it out there on some of the dunes. But yeah, overall it was a really fun experience. I highly recommend, if you've got the time, if you're on your way to Zion or Bryce or Capitol Reef and you find yourself, or Arches for that matter, and you find yourself in southern Utah, I'd recommend carving out some time and stopping by. They got really good restaurants there in Hurricane too. We actually stopped there and had dinner at a little Mexican restaurant. If I remember the name, I'll put it down in the description. But yeah, it was a really good experience. I mean, you know, again, I'd love to have met Matt. Didn't work out, but maybe next time. But yeah, I'll include video now of what it was like walking around the yard. It shows you guys the cars that we got to look at. I think I mentioned all of them, but I'll have the video there to show you what they looked like when we visited. And then I'll include pictures at the tail end. But yeah, with that being said, if you find yourself in Hurricane, Utah, and had a little bit of time to kill, I definitely recommend stopping by, and maybe you'll get lucky and get to say hey. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. That wraps up the second video in our What It's Like to Meet Famous YouTubers video series. On the third video, I actually did get to meet this YouTuber, and I actually, much like Robbie, got to sit down and actually have a conversation with them for a little bit, which was really neat. So really looking forward to that video. I think you guys will enjoy that one as well. And so I'll release that one the next week after this one comes out. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, put those down below. And if you would, please like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one.